Hello everybody, welcome. It's Eleanor here from Coach for Students. How are you all doing today? Happy Halloween! We've made it to the end of October, so well done everybody, we've done it. And it's also Super Saturday. For those of you that are interested in the rugby, it's the Six Nations final day of all three matches this afternoon. So good luck to, I'm not going to say which team I'm supporting, but good luck to them. I'm sure you'll do absolutely great. So today I was going to talk to you about big picture stuff and how not just focusing on the little day-to-day stuff, but looking at long-term life goals and all that sort of thing. Saturdays are quite nice to have those bigger, more creative ideas and thinking space. But actually this morning I woke up to find that my postcode has gone from a medium level restriction up to high. And I'm not entirely sure what that means yet. So I've been spending the morning going through what I can and can't do, whether or not I'll be able to go to my gym, which is still a little bit up in the air at the moment. I expect that I'm probably not going to be able to do that at all. So all my classes are now out because it's we were slowly building up into larger groups. So now I'm trying to think, well, how am I going to be able to get my exercise in? How am I going to be able to socialize and see people that mean the most to me? And so I'm just planning those few things at the moment. So I thought I'd talk to you today rather than about the big picture stuff. We're going to go back to the small stuff and the managing everyday things. In the summer, lockdown was horrible, I think, for all of us. But in the summer, it wasn't so bad because you could go out every day and get your half hour of exercise. And certainly if you had a dog or a pet to be able to take for a walk, I'm not sure what other pets you take for a walk, but certainly if you had a dog, you could at least have an excuse to take it out for a walk. And I found that my exercise time was becoming more and more important as lockdown continued. Now we're going into winter. I'm wondering how much time I'm going to want to be spending outside in the cold and the dark and in the rain. Certainly today I was hoping to go for a walk this morning, but the weather's just absolutely shocking. So now my life is coming back into home and what can I do in the house and trying to entertain myself and just keep occupied now now that the winter's in. And so for me, I have to stave off boredom, but I'm not getting too stressed about it. But I know a lot of people do find that being stuck in a house can get very, very stressful. And also if you're in halls, if you've got housemates, and you still, I guess, you're probably getting to know each other quite well now because there's not an awful lot else to do. But if you're still getting to know each other, or maybe you just haven't quite worked out how to get on best, the thought of heading into another national lockdown could be really, really quite stressful. So I thought I'd put together just 5 really simple tips of managing that stress and how to cope with housemates when our lives are getting more and more small and more indoors and a little bit more restricted. So number 1 is to maintain a routine. Now, I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but honestly, the reason that everyone says it is because it's true. Really, keeping that routine going is so important, especially if you're getting increased levels of stress or anxiety. If you're heading towards anything like depression, everyone will tell you routine. So please do stick to a routine. And when we talk about routines, and it can be anything, it can be whatever works best for you. So for some people, they might want to plan every single hour of their day. They have to have something in it. Other people, they might just want a few basic things. But for me, the 3 absolute basic musts are getting up at the same time every single day. And if you can, go to bed at the same time every day as well. Set your alarm. When your alarm goes off, get up. Even if you've got nothing to do, just that routine of getting out of bed and then going and having breakfast. So get up at the same time and have your breakfast at the same time every single day. Make sure you've got your sleeping routines as even as possible. And for some people, it's going to bed really early. For some people, it might be 2 a.m. It's completely up to you, whatever works best for you in your routine. But whatever you do, stick to it. And you may find for the first week that you want to play around with different timings, but work out what works well for you and then just stick to that routine. So get your sleeping routines in place, get your eating routines in place as well. And that's if you're somebody that only eats twice a day, 3 times, if you're 5 times, whatever it is that you do, build that into the routine. So if you're somebody that likes to have three meals a day, don't start eating after lunch. Make sure that you schedule in your breakfast and actually have your breakfast in the morning. Have your lunch at lunchtime and dinner at dinner time. Again, whatever hours work best for you. And if you're someone that doesn't get up till 11, then fine, everything will be knocked later into the day. That's absolutely fine. But again, work out what works well for you and stick to it. And then the other routine that you want to do is your exercise, whether that's your kind of, if we end up in a full lockdown and we're only allowed half an hour of exercise, make sure you take that half hour and make sure you do it at exactly the same time every single day. And again, it might take a few days for you to work out what time works best for you. I'm a morning person. I like getting my exercise in first thing in the morning. Now that we're into the winter and we've changed the clocks, I'm definitely going to be going out early rather than kind of in the evenings when it's dark. I want to make sure that I can do it during daylight. So get in your eating, sleeping and exercise routines. It'll take a while to work out what works, and you'll be different to the next person and the next person, but make sure that you get something that works for you, because otherwise you're just not going to stick to it. Number 2 is about staying in touch with people. Obviously, there's the people that kind of you do really, really care about the most. You're going to stay in touch with them, whether that's on the phone, email, Facebook, whatever. You're going to stay in touch with them. But think about all your other friends as well, the people that kind of, after you've had a conversation with them, you just feel really good afterwards. Make sure you get time in to speak to them. And I've certainly got friends that I text a lot, so I kind of spend a lot of time WhatsApping them, but then rarely actually kind of have a face call with them. So on the occasion that I do, I suddenly feel so much better and think, gosh, I wish I'd done this sooner. So there's people that you do spend a lot of time in contact with. Make sure you get that quality time in. Have a face-to-face call with them. FaceTime them. You can use Facebook, WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever it is that you're going to use. Make sure that you do actually get that quality time in and have a good conversation with them rather than just texting them a lot. Number 3, this is about your housemates. Be nice to each other. It sounds really silly, but if you're going to start getting frustrated, you're going to get stressed, maybe kind of a little bit of anxiety coming in, it can all build up, and you can end up taking it out on your housemates. But just remember, they're going through the same things you are, but maybe in a slightly different way. They might be dealing with things slightly differently. They might be dealing with it better. They might be dealing with it worse. They might be dealing with things that you don't even know about. So just be careful when you do kind of go into the lounge, or you go into kind of your common area, and you just vent. Just be aware of what you're saying and make sure that you're not going to be increasing the stress levels of other people while you're there. So just be nice to each other and just be aware that other people are also going through a tough time too. Number 4, manage your screen time. Now on my phone, I can set it so that I can limit how much time I use certain apps, which I found really, really useful to use. I know we end up with, if you've got lectures that are going to be online and you're watching TED Talks or kind of other things that are kind of associated with your course, as well as actually having to do work, write essays, answer questions, you're going to be spending a lot of time in front of the screen. So actually, if you're at home and you're doing that, and then when you finish and you just put the TV on, you're literally just going from one screen to another. And then if you're playing with your phone as well, you're just never going to get away from a screen. So I've always found that just being able to get out at lunchtime, say, and just getting a bit of fresh air and a bit of natural light at lunchtime makes a huge difference to kind of how I work in the afternoon. And also, if you can, before kind of the restrictions get too heavy, if you kind of set your work time and then your kind of out of work time, if you can get a walk in between those two, just to really kind of clear your head between kind of laptop and having to think about work stuff, to kind of then kind of before you end up kind of watching Netflix all evening, just having that little break between the two just can really, really help with your mindset, with your mental health. But also, it's just really good for your eyes, just to have that little break. So do try and manage that screen time and try and find things to do that don't involve playing on your phone. And that brings me to the final one, which is come up with tasks and things to do that don't involve your phone. So quite often, and I'm certainly guilty of it, I end up playing with my phone because there's nothing else to do. But give me something else to do, a good book to read, or a jigsaw, or anything kind of any sort of task. I'd been far more happier to do something like that than just mindlessly playing with my phone. But quite often we just don't have anything else to do, so you just pick up your phone with boredom. And so if you're in together as housemates, can you come up with tasks that you could do together that don't involve using your phone? Now, firstly, there's all like boring stuff, all the chores. Let's get the washing up done. Not the most inspiring of things. I completely appreciate that, and in fact, I've left washing up for ages because I just can't face doing it. So putting things together like, oh, let's all get the washing up done. If you start off suggesting that, you're not going to be the most popular person in the house. So maybe come up with some tasks, some games. Maybe kind of the loser of the game has to do the washing up. Or, you can kind of do things that way, or winner of the game doesn't have to wash up for a week. Come up with things like that. Tasks could be things like, doing some arts and crafts, knitting. One of my friends is knitting woolly gloves for everyone at the moment. Whether you want them or not, she's knitting your woolly gloves. There's just there's so many things to do. She also made face masks during the summer, which is brilliant. So thank you ever so much, Carol, for those. We do appreciate your handicrafts. But there's so many things like that. I'm not an arty person, but I quite like sciencey things, and so I've been looking online for like school science projects, so things like grow your own crystals or build your own robot, and they're all kind of aimed at kind of age 5 to 10. But when you're running out of things to do, actually doing something really physical and logical like that, like build your own robot, it's really silly, but it gives you something to concentrate on and gives you something to do that isn't playing with your phone. And at the end of it, you've got a robot. So it's pretty cool, really. Maybe you want to learn a new skill, and you can learn a language. I've been attempting to learn French during lockdown. It's not going very well, but at least I'm trying and I'm doing something. It kind of helps my mind work in a different way. So there's plenty of different tasks that you could come up with, from the really boring, such as doing the washing up, to the arts and crafts and science and things like that. You could do them by yourself, get your housemates to join in, you can make it competitive, and it's just not using your phone. So give that one a go. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. That's been quite a long talk today, so I'm going to leave it and I'm going to go and watch the rugby. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy Halloween and Super Saturday, and I shall talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.